Alrighty, alright. I'm not exactly sure. I can't see. Um, I can't see who is joining or anything, but so basically, we we wanted to all get together and do the podcast this weekend, but for the other 150 million people in the South, the roads are getting really bad out there, and luckily, I still have power here where I'm from, and the girls, I just got off the phone with Rachel, and she said they've got power, and they've just kind of had a chill day and just relaxing. So I wanted to test out this live from this new software that we're messing with, and really see if we can get something going. So yeah, I'm gonna do just a couple of stories that we were gonna do on the podcast this week. And I am so sorry, guys. I had not gotten the podcast out from last week. It has been one hell of a week, at work and everything. Because we're still working our 9 to 5s while doing the channel. But the more you guys share and subscribe and tell your friends about it, we can maybe make this a career one day. Actually, we will make this a career one day. We just have to get there. So, I need some kind of a phone mount or something. Got this camera over here to my right. Okay. So, welcome to the Paranormal Bound Podcast Live. As you can see on the screen, like, comment, subscribe, share. Please do that. Ooh. 7-Up Tropical. Not a sponsor, by the way, but should be. Where you guys at? Okay, let's see here. So we wanted to do this week's episode on the missing 411, and we're still gonna record that podcast whenever the roads clear up. But until then, we're just gonna read a couple of stories. Now, for those of you who don't know, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like 50 to 75,000 people in the world go missing every year, I believe. And in America, for some odd reason, most of them go missing in national parks, national forests. So, leave me in the comments down below if you have a national park or a national forest nearby. And, you could find out if someone's gone missing there. The two that are around me, there was one woman that went missing, and she was found unalived in her car. I can't remember if it was a suicide or it could have been the other. I'm not sure. But that was the only real crazy one. And then the smaller park that's much closer to me was there's no one that's ever gone missing there, which it's not a very big park. It's not like some of the ones that are out in the Northwest that are hundreds of miles long. No, this one wasn't that big. But anywho, I'm going to go through a couple of stories from the missing 411. And this one says the Dennis Martin case. This is in the Great Smoky Mountains back in 1969. So, here we go. 6-year-old Dennis Martin disappears during a family hike. Middle of the day, lots of people around. 1 second he's there, the next, the forest eats him. He's just gone. Okay, this is why the national park stuff gets on my nerves, because, of course, you're in a big, vast area that is just trees and grass and greenery everywhere. So it's natural for someone to just go missing like that. But the fact that a parent will turn their head this way and their kid just disappears, just gone, is so irritating to me. Because, those of you who are watching who have kids, you guys know this. If something happens, if your kid just walks away, goes around the corner, you get that little, like, it's okay, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to look, and they're going to be right there. So, just imagine this, okay? Search teams flood the area, Green Berets, tracking dogs, helicopters, and still they find nothing. A nearby witness reports seeing a hairy human-shaped figure carrying something over its shoulder. Officials quickly and quietly ignore the detail because, of course, they do. Dennis is never found, not a scrape, not a bone, not clothing, just gone. Okay? Now, some of these stories are like that. They're short. But catch in the details. You got to catch the details in the story. A witness, whether this is true or not, says a hairy human-shaped figure. What does that sound like to you? Oh, I don't have my tinfoil hat, everybody. I don't. But that sounds like Sasquatch to me. Maybe it doesn't to you. Maybe it's just a wild man out in the woods who is a bit fuzzy. Either way, the kid was never found. Moving on. This one is called The Little Boy Found Miles Away. This one repeats so often, but it's basically a genre at this point. A toddler disappears, can barely walk. Hours and days later, the kid is found miles away, uphill, across rivers, through terrain trained adults struggle with. No injuries, no dehydration, and no, wait for it, explanation. When asked how they got there, the kids say things like, "The bear took me, a man helped me, I followed a voice." Park officials nod politely and pretend that the sentence never happened. Okay. The Vanishing Hunters from Oregon. Experienced hunters, armed, radios, familiar with the land. They split up briefly. They never reunite. Search teams later found their gear neatly stacked, sometimes with boots placed side by side. No blood, no struggle, no sign of predators. Weird. Hunters don't take their boots off in freezing terrain unless something has gone catastrophically wrong or something convinced them to. Nobody ever explains this part. I have a small explanation for something like that. Okay, so go back in the details. Search teams later find their gear neatly stacked, sometimes boots placed side by side. No blood, no struggle, no sign of predators. In the event of freezing temperatures, if you're getting hypothermia, one of the last thing your body does is it uses the last bit of remaining heat it has. In this instant, you're dying, but you feel really hot, and you feel like you need to shed clothing. This is your body's last-ditch effort to save you. So when hunters, maybe they throw their gear off, they throw their boots off, oh, it feels so much better, and not long after that, they'll freeze to death and they'll die. But the only thing about that is their bodies are never found. Okay, so in the situation of hypothermia, their bodies are supposed to be laying nearby, but in these situations for the missing 411, the bodies are nowhere to be found. So, what do? What do we do? We don't know. We just find their gear. This goes to the conspiracy of a portal. Some type of portal that they walk through. Who knows? I mean, it's a possibility. We're going to get into those a lot more over on Death Before Decaf, which is our new YouTube channel where we're talking about all things conspiracies. Go check us out on there. I think we have one subscriber, which is one of us. We need your subscribes, though. The first video of that will be up at some point. Okay. The Boulder Fields pattern. Missing 411 cases cluster around boulder fields, granite outcroppings, and areas with sudden weather changes. People vanish near rocks. Bodies, if found, are later discovered on top of cliffs or boulders that searchers already checked. Sometimes this remains appear months later in pristine condition with clothing faded nearby. Folded, not faded. Nature doesn't do neatly placed. Nature doesn't do a lot of things. It's like if you're in the woods and you're on a solo camping trip or something and you see something in the distance that looks straight or like it's too perfect. Nature does not do anything perfect. Okay, nature is very jagged, very crazy looking. Of course, aside from trees that go straight up, but rock faces, anything rock is never going to be straight. It's going to look lumpy. So if you see something that is straight or in some type of shape, it more than likely isn't natural. And the fact that the Boulder Fields pattern comes up, the fact that people vanish near rocks, bodies, if found, are later discovered at the tops of cliffs, this goes to the portal conspiracy, okay? And for some reason, when people go missing, there is almost always, especially if you're in the woods, some type of thick fog that rolls in. So this is something that just randomly and weirdly happens to people that go missing. So I'm not saying every time you see a crazy fog roll in to run away from it, but there's definitely something connected there. And whatever the healing or religious properties are of granite or Yellowstone or anything like that. Wait, no, not Yellowstone. Hang on. Granite and crap. I can't think of the other one. But anyway, moving on. Had a brain fart there. Sorry about that. The smiley face problem without the smiley face. Search dogs pick up a scent. The scent, my phone is falling. The scent abruptly stops, like the person stopped, into thin air. It sometimes causes the dogs to refuse to continue, sit down, whine, turn away. Trained dogs do not quit unless something else feels deeply wrong. Handlers almost never talk about this publicly. When they do, they look very uncomfortable. Okay, so this goes out to the searchers who run dogs. So in missing persons scenarios, if people are not able to find them, and these are people that basically live in the woods, these are park rangers and outdoorsmen, all these people give their time and their effort to search for these persons, and when they come up empty-handed, they bring in dogs, usually drug dogs, but you got to imagine dogs have an unbelievable scent, okay? They have, their noses is one of their biggest attributes. So when they come in, they're given a piece of clothing that the family has or something of that nature. They will run through the woods, the people right behind them, their handlers right behind them, and then the dogs will just stop. I've read so many missing 411 cases where they just stop out of nowhere, and the dogs just sit, and they'll just kind of whine. If you got a dog, especially German Shepherds, if your dog ever comes back to you and sits down and puts its ears back and looks up at you and whines a little bit, that's the dog's way of saying, what do I do now? My dog does it all the time. I've got a German Shepherd just laying behind me. She does it all the time. Okay. The missing college student found where he couldn't be. A young man disappears in winter conditions. Hypothermia should have killed him fast. Days later, he's found in an area already searched, with no frostbite, minimal exposure damage, and no memory of how he got there. And coroner reports are vague. Timelines don't line up. Authorities close this case quickly. That happens a lot, unfortunately. It's almost like when the authorities get a hold of something like this and they can't explain it, they'll just go, oh, he died of hypothermia. That's all the questions we're taking right now. Prayers be with his family. It's like, come on, guys. Yeah, it's a little strange. You're cops. Like, come on. Like, the missing 411 stories keep me up at night sometimes. It's, ugh. Now, this one's going to get under some people's skin, and I apologize. The silence of Park Service. This is the quietest and creepiest part. There is no official missing 411 database. No. The missing 411 was created by a detective named David Paulides. Okay, he was a cop, then a detective. When he started reading all these missing person cases, he built his own database of these people. There are hundreds of stories that are out there now for you to look at. And none of them make sense. That's why we're here tonight. Okay, you can see me getting a little bit fired up, and it's because none of these stories make sense. These stories leave you with more questions than answers, and that bugs me. Okay, again, for those of you who didn't know, the National Park Service is a whole thing, okay? They're the ones that run all the national parks in America. They have no known database for the missing 411. No centralized missing person list for national parks. No constant reporting standards. When families ask for numbers, they got stonewalled. When patterns are mentioned, officials insist there are none. which is funny because patterns don't stop existing just because they're inconvenient. National Park Service, I'm talking to you. And you know what? While we are here, I said I wasn't going to smoke on camera, but guys, I'm human and I smoke cigarettes. Deal with it. While we are here, you guys, I'm going to say this. You can look this up. This is actual things that happen. And guess what? Again, they happen for no reason. National Park Service, why are there random staircases in your woods? Yeah, I went there. I brought it up. Why do random staircases just show up in the woods? And why do you just walk past them and go, oh, just another day? Don't ask questions. Look down. You guys can look that up, okay? I didn't come prepared with stories or anything like that, but for some ungodly, weird reason, there are staircases that just show up in the middle of nowhere. We're talking miles and miles away from any known road. So you're telling me some billionaire takes a helicopter with the whole crew, goes out there, lands, builds a staircase, and runs away. Not knowing if those staircases are ever going to see a human person, okay? We're talking about so remote that these staircases may never see any human being walk by them. That's how far out they go. This is not something that's near the gift shop. This is something that is so far out and so remote. Where do they come from? You know what? I'll leave y'all's crazy minds up to that. And I get it, guys. This is the Paranormal Bound podcast, and these more sound like conspiracy stories. But just the simple fact that this goes on. I mean, yeah, usually we're talking about something a lot creepier than this, but this stuff, it just keeps me up at night. It just seriously keeps me up at night. Leave me in the comments. Tell me exactly what you guys feel on the staircases and the stories. But I'm going to read a couple more because we're already in it now. Okay. The common threads, the part that nobody likes. Sudden disappearances. Weather shifts immediately after vanishing. Dogs losing the scent. Children traveling impossible distances. Bodies found where they shouldn't be. You know, top of cliffs, across rivers, toddlers. Full-grown men can't make it across those in certain areas. Anyway, missing clothes or shoes, witnesses dismissed or ignored. Politis won't tell you what is doing it. He just lays the cases out, lets your brain suffer quietly. And that's basically what I'm doing here tonight, okay? I'm laying just a couple of short cases in front of you for you guys to make up your own mind on. And I'm so sorry for doing that to you. But guys, this is why the Paranormal Bound and Death Before Decaf exists, okay? This is why me, Ronnie, and Rachel get together and talk about this kind of stuff, because we want to really work our brain out, okay? We want to hear things and talk about things that isn't supposed to be there, like, you know, the bump in the night that you're like, oh, that's just the house settling. What if it wasn't the house settling, okay? Oh, the story earlier of the hairy man, that was just probably a guy. It could have been, it probably was, but it could have been something else too. Okay? We're here to think. We're here to use that thing between our ears that most people don't use. Myself included sometimes, unfortunately. So yeah, just a couple of those stories, and I know I got a little bit conspiratorial. Haha. But guys, you know, all I can do is tell you the story and give my opinion. You have to go from here. But the next time we all get together in the studio and do a full show, we are going to really undo a lot of stories. And but yeah, like I said before, guys, the new channel is over on YouTube. It's a whole different channel from the Paranormal Bound, but it's called Death Before Decaf, okay? We're hanging out, we're drinking coffee, we're just talking about what's on our mind. The first episode is none other than the Denver airport and how conspiracy meets I don't know. It's crazy. It's fun. Go over there. That video will be up shortly. I think there's just like a little short video on there right now. As soon as my computer starts working with me a little bit better, we'll definitely get on it if I don't lose power. But those of you who are watching in the South, what's up? It's a little bit icy outside, so yeah, hopefully we don't lose power. And I guess we will see you guys in the near future. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. We want to make this a career, okay? We want to make this a full career where we can give you guys content non-stop, okay? We need your help to do that. Share this live with your friends. Share some of our videos. Go to the Paranormal Bound. Watch the videos. Share